Welcome to the Ecommerce Marketing Podcast, the highly rated digital marketing podcast that provides weekly digital marketing tips and strategies from some of the world's top digital marketers and e-commerce entrepreneurs that will help you take your digital marketing to the next level. Sit back and enjoy this power-packed episode hosted by Arlen Robinson, who is an e-commerce entrepreneur and digital marketing expert with over 20 years of experience. Hey, e-commerce marketing podcast listener. Are you looking to increase traffic and sales to your website? You can do this by launching your own affiliate program. Just visit getosi.com and sign up for a free trial today. That's getosi.com. Now get ready to hear from your e-commerce marketing expert of the week as they drill down to give you details on marketing strategies that can help grow your business.
Welcome back to the E-Commerce Marketing Podcast, everyone. My name is Arlen, and I am your host. And today we have a very special guest, Tepper, who is the founder and CEO of Tykr, a platform that helps people manage their own investments with confidence. Today, he'll provide marketing tips, including YouTube marketing tips, to help build more awareness and generate sales. Welcome back to the E-Commerce Marketing Podcast, Sean.
Good to be back, Arlen. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah, I say welcome back because you were definitely on before. I think we did a recording initially, your first recording. I think it was last year. I want to say
could have been a year or two ago. Yeah,
a year or maybe 2 years ago. Time is just really moving. It's hard for me to keep track. I know the last time we were talking a lot about strategies for SaaS-based companies, I believe, and marketing. And today this is definitely a really hot topic because most people these days know that. It's all about video. Most of the social media platforms have such a large aspect of video, and that goes to YouTube as well. And so, you're going to be talking a little bit about YouTube marketing that actually works. Yes. A lot of it is going to be based on your experiences, which is something that I always love to hear, actionable lessons and actionable tips that come from lessons learned, because that's really things that are kind of tried and true. And it's not just kind of fluff that you're kind of pulling out of nowhere. These are things that you've actually tried and you've seen things that didn't work and know what does work. But before we dive deep into that, why don't you just tell us a little bit more about your background again and let us know how you got into what you're doing today.
Sure. Yeah, just kind of recap for your audience. My background is about 20 years in business, kind of a mix of different businesses I started and then doing corporate contracting. So I had my first business in the 2000s agency model. I know you had an agency as well, building websites and software for small and mid-sized businesses. Went through a merger in 2010. I knew what kind of business I wanted to create next, which was SaaS, although I didn't have any great ideas. I was looking at like Netflix and MailChimp and Salesforce, and I'm like, I want to create something like that, but I didn't have any like what is something that the market really needs? And there's not a lot of competition, and I couldn't really answer that question. So I did corporate contracting. 2010, that really started. And then I planned to go 2 years working for corporate companies that turned into 12 years. Sometimes It takes a little longer to create a venture than you like, but I learned a lot along the way. But yeah, I got into stock investing. In parallel, I was doing a lot of work with companies like GE and Kohler are awesome companies. Learned a lot from them. But yeah, it really led to 2015, created an Excel sheet on how do I remove emotions from stock investing? How do I create like a green light, red light decision-making process and what's a good stock and what's bad? And thanks to Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, another guy by the name of Phil Town, I was able to create this Excel sheet, used it for 4 years, making returns between 15 and 50%. For context, the market average, if you invest in like an S&P 500, is like 6 to 8% after inflation. So I'm like, great, I'm able to beat the market. And it's nothing fancy. It's just buying safe, boring businesses, Warren Buffett style. And then 2019 hit, and I started sharing this Excel sheet with a few people, retail investors, regular guys like you and I, as well as some people that work at institutions. And everybody was like, hey, you should consider turning this into a software so others can use it. And I was like, there we go. Almost 10 years later, I've got a SaaS idea. So awesome. So it took about a year to build the first version, went live in 2020, took 6 months to get the first paying customer, which is a humbling experience in itself. But I knew the process. I've launched platforms before. And what you want to do is get as many, you want to get a lot of free users on the platform first, but in return, you want to get feedback and you want it fast. what don't you like about the platform? What can you do better? So yeah, fast forward to today, we're live a little over 3.5 years. We're a B2C SaaS business. We help people invest on their own, and we've got over 8,000 customers in about 50 countries. And of course, I'm gonna drop this right now. Anybody listening here interested in stocks, do not take my word for it. I could talk about Tykr all day. Don't listen to me. Listen to my customers. I always send people over to Trustpilot, where we've got that 4.9 out of 5. But I would say I connect really well with the e-commerce industry, people starting e-commerce brands, because they're also B2C. Like what works and what doesn't work for B2C marketing. And a B2C SaaS is probably closer to, in some ways, than to e-commerce, I'd say, than to B2B SaaS, B2B SaaS serving large corporations, even small businesses. That's a different animal in itself. That's kind of your neck of the woods.
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for sharing that background, Sean. Appreciate that. You definitely have a really diverse background, and it's good that things are going well with your SaaS product, Tykr. Sounds like some really good stuff. And, I'd say anybody interested in, the retail investing and kind of going that route, like you said, take your customers' word for it. They can check your reviews and what customers are saying.
There you go.
On Trustpilot, and that's always a good way to go. Getting into what we're going to be talking about today, which is a YouTube marketing strategy. I think, of course, everybody's familiar with YouTube. A lot of people watch or consume YouTube videos for informational purposes. They're learning how to do something, whether it's for a business, if they're learning how to market a business, if they're learning how to, cook a dinner, whatever it is. A lot of how to do things are on YouTube. Also various podcasts, interview style podcasts, you name it, it's all there. When e-commerce brand is, thinking of, going that route and creating content for YouTube, if you can share your insights on the type of content that you need to create that people aren't going to just kind of consume to be able to learn how to do something, but educate them, but also be able to convert them into loyal customers. How do you get them to cross over once you've adopted them there as a viewer?
Now, I'm going to preface this right now, audience out there. If you can grab a pen and paper, I'm actually going to give you tangible metrics and things to take action on, because it took a long time to figure out these things on our own, because I've watched so many people on YouTube and so many people teaching YouTube, but they just keep it on the surface level. Like they don't want to share anything. It just drives me nuts. So I'm actually going to give you the formula here. So to take a step back, you're right. With people on YouTube, people are going to YouTube searching with intent. They want to learn something. They want the laser focused A to Z as fast as possible. Don't waste my time. Examples in my life, like I had to figure out how to change electrical switches in the house, including 3-way switches. I was like, how do you do this? And watching YouTube videos, I don't want to kill myself in the process, or electrocute myself. But okay, so there's an example. Or fixing the pipings under the sink. I don't want to break something. So it's stuff like that. You want to know exactly. So with stock investing, that's it. So I'll kind of start with the key areas here. You have your title is really important. Like how do you create a title that pops? It's title and thumbnail that are like the two most important things right off the bat. And I'll get into the video content here as well. So it's title and thumbnail. Don't put so much effort onto the description. Like what's the content in the description? I'll give a few things that can help you out. So don't put too much effort there. And you can put some effort into the tagging, but I found that it's title and thumbnail the most. So here's the quick tip. Some quick takeaways here with titling is how to is great. How to do this. That's one thing. Number 2, anything number focused, and don't spell out numbers, use the number, like 7 ways, put the number 7 or 5 ways on how. So numbers are great. So if anybody out there is teaching something or selling something in e-commerce, teach people something like 3 ways, 5 ways, 7 ways, whatever. Get a number in that title. That's hot. Try to keep the titles to 7 words or less. That's another thing too. You can kind of break that from one video to the next, but don't get in the habit of that. Try to keep it 7 words or less. A fourth point would be, this is really helpful, and I give credit to Alex Hermosi on this one, is the Hemingway app. Again, Hemingway app. What it does is it teaches you, or you put in words and it gives you a grade level on like, is this third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade reading, writing level? You want to be third grade or less. And it's going to be hard to get there, but the more simplified language you can use, the better the marketing, the better the reach. Because I know people, like I've had people I talk to, they'll have a title, you put it in Hemingway and it'll be like, oh, this is 12th grade. Like, yeah, you're going to miss the mark there. Third grade or less is really key. Yep. And then this is good too, is, people, they're more attracted to pain avoidance than they are like rewards. Like here, like you put everything together, 3 ways to avoid losing money in the stock market. That's just an example. Or you're in affiliate marketing, like the 3 biggest mistakes affiliate marketers make. Like somebody who's an affiliate, they're going to read that, they're going to click it. Like that's going to, so you put in the pain, like how to avoid pain. That's a formula right there. So you kind of put all those things together, 7 words or less, use a number, how to, pain avoidance, use Hemingway. You can create some awesome titles that are going to attract attention.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. Those are some great tips. Sure. And I've heard, what you're saying before, as far as the title is concerned. A lot of times people, if you look at various descriptions, a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on putting links and things in the description. You can do that, of course, informational purposes. You want to put a little summary of what the video is about, maybe links to your website. All that's fine. Even if you have a promotion, that's fine. But you're right. The main thing you've got to look at is what's catching people's attention. It's really the thumbnail and then that title. That's what's getting people to click and at least take that initial step and view the video. Taking it to the next level, let's say, we've gotten past that. We've got a decent title, got a decent thumbnail.
We should touch on thumbnail though real quick, because that's a different formula. Sure. Yeah. So the number one most marketable thing in a thumb is a human being. And so many people are critical of themselves. Well, I don't think I'm good looking enough, or I don't. Stop it. Like everybody says that about themselves to some degree, unless they're a complete narcissist. Right. So what you want to do is, this is a formula too. You want to be close up, which is like this, like where my hands are. If you're listening to this, you can't see it. It's kind of like your head. And then at the furthest out would be a medium shot. So think like like it could be a little bit above the waist to the top of your head. That'd be more of a medium shot. That's the furthest back. You never want to go all the way back, like a full, like you can see their shoes or their legs. Like, you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you can see faces. That's the number one most marketable thing. So you want your face in every video in the same way, shape, or form. And then what you want to do is you want to create different reaction shots. Like do a Photoshop, get a friend to shoot some nice photos of you, like a surprised photo or an angry photo, or pointing photos at different, to the right, to the left. And it's going to feel cheesy, but like when you get the variety out there in YouTube, that's what matters. So you want to get a nice variety of like 10, 15, 20 different photos you can use, and then you add those to the thumbs. And then what you want to do is, there's a formula here as well. The 7 words in the title, it's probably even, what we found is it's probably even less in the thumb. Try to, like, if you do a longer title of 7 words, try to get out the filler words like a or the or and create a version of it that's like maybe 3 words, and make sure you've got a colored background, not white. You want to go colored, and then go like white text with like a black outline. I found that works best, but nice, bold, capital letters. Don't go initial caps, go all caps. And depending if your brand is more serious, then use more serious font. But if it's more fun, choose a font that's got some curves to it. You go into Microsoft Word or whatever, Adobe Photoshop, you can see all the fonts and pick one. But I use, and I recommend this for everybody, use Canva. Canva is more efficient to create thumbnails than anything else. I've used Photoshop, but that way and then you can copy previous thumbnails, and it's got everything laid out, and you can change the colors really quick. You can drop in another image of yourself and then change like a graphic or logo. But that's kind of the formula. So kind of rehashes, you want human being, you, number 1, close up or medium shot at the furthest. colored background, white text, black outline on the text, so it really pops, and make it a little shorter if you can than that title. So the title is really, you get some help from Hemingway app, then create a version of it. Like, for example, I just created a video talking about the Bitcoin ETFs that are really hot. It's just essentially a way for you as an investor, easier way to buy ETF or Bitcoin. And then there's also a Vanguard boycott, because Vanguard's like, we're not going to include Bitcoin ETFs, and people were boycotting. And my video pretty much says like, this is blown out of proportions. You can still go buy Bitcoin elsewhere. But anyway, there's a lot of words there. So what I did is in the thumb, it was just like Bitcoin logo, ETF, and then a big question mark, and then me next to it pointing at it, like with a question thing. So it's like, that was one word, one logo, one word, to make it simple, because people are going to scroll fast and they're not going to hit it. So as you can see, the title and thumb, they do correlate a little. You want to make sure the same theme is there, but it's not the same wording. There's a different strategy for each.
Hey there, fellow entrepreneurs and B2B marketers. Before we dive back into the conversation, let me introduce you to a game changer in the lead generation arena, Lead Feeder. Now, we all know the struggle of identifying those elusive website visitors and turning them into valuable leads. But what if I told you there's a tool that not only promises but delivers on supercharging your lead generation and sales efforts? Enter Lead Feeder. Imagine having the power to identify companies visiting your website, track their behavior in real time, and seamlessly integrate it all with your CRM. Lead Feeder is not just a tool, it's your secret weapon for efficient and targeted lead engagement. What sets Lead Feeder apart? It's the ability to provide detailed insights into customer behavior, helping your sales team prioritize efforts and close deals faster. With customizable notifications, lead scoring, and GDPR compliance, Lead Feeder is changing the game. Ready to revolutionize your approach to leads and deals? Head over to leadfeeder.com for your free demo today. That's LEADFEEDER.com. Don't miss out on the future of successful lead generation with Lead Feeder.
Yeah, that's good to know, because when you're dealing with the images, there's not a lot of real estate that you have to deal with. And especially like you said, if the title is up to seven words, a lot of times you're not going to be able to effectively fit all of that in along with the medium to large size picture of yourself or whatever graphics you have in there. So that makes a lot of sense. A reduced version of the title in the actual thumbnail. So great piece of advice. Now that we've gotten past that, we've gotten the clicks, we got a great title, we've got a great thumbnail, somebody's watching the video. As an e-commerce brand, the main thing that I'm looking at if I'm an e-commerce business owner is, I want them to take action. I want to be able to engage with that customer. I want them to do something, whether it's subscribe to my mailing list, whether it is try my products. Maybe I'm giving a special for a holiday, whatever it is. I want them to take action. I want that engagement. What are some types of content, and what are specific tactics you can take behind that content to really increase the engagement and get somebody to actually do something?
So within the video itself, and I'll kind of give some good metrics here too, try to make it, some people would say you got to make them 10 minutes because the YouTube algorithm likes 10-minute long videos. Well, that algorithm is changing all the time. We tend to lean towards simplicity and try to make them 10 minutes or less. We've got a lot of videos that are less than 5 minutes. If you do the short form videos, which are the vertical ones, you will see, and what we do there, real quick tip, and I'll get into the details of a video. But a short form video will record one, and that'll go to YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, and TikTok. Use the same video for all 4 platforms. You kind of take out 4 birds with one stone, if you will. But that video should be 1 minute or less. That way it can go to each, because not all those platforms allow anything over a minute. But within the longer video, it's good you could be talking, and I don't always do my intro like, hey, this is Sean Tepper with Tykr. I'll have I'll have what's called a lower third pop up. In the movie industry, they talk about lower thirds, which is little text that comes up and says like Arlen Robinson, e-commerce marketing podcast, would come after it, but it comes up for about 5 seconds. And that way you don't have to be saying it. But the call to action, you're right. Like what I try to do is I try to say like towards the end of the video, and I know I need to pepper it in more in the beginning, but if you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more like it, hit that subscribe. And if you want something, like if you can give them something for free, that helps. Like for example, Tykr is a SaaS platform that you can join for free, no credit card required. So I always say, hey, if you're interested in giving Tykr a test drive, you can join it for free. So that's the call to action. So what do you want? You're right. Like you have to have a call to action. Educate, key, right? Don't sell, educate, but to let them know if they can get something, and it doesn't have to be free. If you can't offer something for free, what is something really low touch or low barrier to entry they can get a hold of? If it's a PDF they download or whatever, that's the action you want them to take, but it's a repetition of doing that every time. And then this leads to the description, and I'll pause for a second. Try to have the same call to action you offered verbally in the video, have that spelled out with a link right there. Like join, for example, join Tykr for free right there. It's like, and people can get right to it. So I'll stop there.
Great stuff. It sounds like with the content and getting them to perform something, something that I get the whole feel of it is I get the feel that you want somebody to do something that's clear, easy for them to do. The bottom line is you don't want them to have to go through too many hoops. They're already watching your video. They're, taking their time out to consume the content, whatever it is. If, like you said, if it's something that you can't offer for free, what is it a low touch? What is something that's not going to require them to do something? Like in your case, signing up for free, they don't have to pay anything, no credit card required. They can do a trial of your service. So that makes a lot of sense. Now with YouTube, of course, there's millions and millions of videos. New videos are posted every day, no matter, depending on the niche of that your product or service is in, you of course want to stand out. So just like optimizing your website for search engines, going through SEO, search engine optimization for your website. I'm assuming you have to do the same thing for YouTube videos. What are some specific tips that you've seen to help get your videos to rank higher than those others and to get those views?
Yep. So I'll kind of take a step back here and kind of something at a high level. There are a lot of marketing strategies you can use. And I try to think about what is an evergreen lead generator. Like we've tried Facebook ad agencies, and I will say this, most of you probably considering or work with, and most really suck at their job. Like not on purpose. It's just, and I've hired several people in Facebook marketing and they have failed. They've failed to generate a positive ROI. They talk a big game and they say they have proven results, but in most cases they fail. Unfortunately, advertising, it's not evergreen. You have to continuously be spending and making. So, and I'm not a big believer in SEO because it takes so darn long with a website. And maybe you can get good at it, but it's very hard. But what I found is YouTube works for e-commerce and it works for B2C SaaS because people are looking for intent. And that's why we doubled down. It's one of our marketing strategies. The first one is, I'll keep this short, channel partners, finding other people who have the same customer, partnering with them. That's number one. Number two is YouTube. It's great. And it's what's beautiful. You put out a video and it can provide ongoing results or ongoing leads. Now, I have to say this. When you're creating content, you have really two options. You can either go evergreen or you can go like pertinent news or like news that's today. For example, Tesla's stock just went down like, I think 9% in the last 24 hours. I could do a video that would get a lot of leads in the next week, but after that, it would drift off on Tesla. It could be, here's the reason why Tesla stock dropped. A month from now, nobody cares. So you'll see a lot of YouTubers doing this immediate news that gets these injections of traffic early on, but it's not good for the long term. You probably want to go 80-20 rule, 20% the immediate news, 80% evergreen. So on your brand, Arlen, you could create stuff like, here are 3 tips on how to motivate your affiliates to sell more. That's a long title. You probably make a shorter version of it, but it's stuff like that could be sitting out next month, next year, 3 years. It's still valuable. So that's where your starting point should be. And then what I found too is, and this is something we're starting to use more of, is go to the search bar. So many people get hung up on different YouTube analytical platforms like TubeBuddy. Don't waste your time and money. You can do this manually and you'll actually get pretty good results. So go to the search bar and do searches in your industry and see what videos come up and what their titles are. And you want to pretty much copy those titles. You don't have to copy them directly, but that's what people are searching for. You want to simulate the searching behavior and then create titles against that. So for example, I'm going to be working on a video here, how to invest for beginners. It's the most simple title for stock investing, but I was playing with a search bar, put it in, see what the results are. And we're not dealing with tens or hundreds of thousands of views. We're looking at videos with millions of views. Okay. Right. That's where we want, and use that formula as your starting point to get videos that rank high. And then I'll stop here in a second. This is one really good tip that worked for us overnight to go from like a few hundred views per video to a few thousand, which is make a comment on somebody else. Like, for example, I've done comment videos on Dave Ramsey and Alex Hormozi, and not just take like a 3 to 5 second clip of something they're saying. And then I'll say, and it doesn't have to be against them. It'd be like, for example, Alex Hormozi said, here's how I would invest $25,000. So then cut to him saying how he would, and then cuts to me saying, oh, okay. So he said that, this is what I would do, and that video like overnight had a few thousand videos. So commenting on others that's a proven formula.
Okay, that's awesome. And I've seen a lot of videos do that because it seems like that can work for a number of different reasons. For number one, I would imagine that commenting video, probably in the title, you're including the name of that person you're commenting on.
Correct.
And so that just that alone is going to give you a boost. People searching for that person
and their face in the title, in the thumb.
Right. I see. So in a case like that, would you have that person's face exclusively or your face as well? Or how do you usually go about those commenting videos as far as the thumbnail?
Yeah, that's mine and theirs, but it would be like pointing with your thumb or like with your finger, like at them. And then you could do a question mark face, and then, you can get creative with the text, but I think it was something like how to invest $25,000 or how Alex Hormozi would invest $25,000. It was shorter than that. I had a little help with the thumb, but you get what I'm saying. Include both photos.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Now, with marketing, especially video marketing, a lot of what we're told is that stories are selling. Stories are what's going to sell, not the facts and figures about your product and the features. People want to connect via stories. What do you see the role of storytelling in YouTube videos? And, is there a specific way that you can use storytelling to connect with your audience? With a YouTube video in your brand?
Totally. Like if you're just going at it dry with data and numbers, you're going to lose people right away. So you gotta try to be interesting on video, lean into your own personality. Don't try to be somebody you're not. I see a lot of, and I know some of these, like Sean Cannell, I really like. He's with Think Media. He teaches people how to YouTube. He's got a whole company based on that. And he kind of poked a finger at like a lot of these younger kids out there, boys and girls, trying to emulate the YouTube celebrities of today, and they're not going to get anywhere because they're not being themselves. So be authentic, own who you are, and lean into it. But story is like, depending on the situation, like if you can tell a short story or provide an example. Here's an example of how I lost money and why you don't want to do this, and then people are leaning in. It really makes a big difference. And then you like zoom out, like I'm a total movie nerd. I'm always watching a new TV show. It's like, why do we watch the stuff we watch? And it's mostly because it has a good story.
Yeah.
That's what brings us back over and over.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. People want to have that connection. They don't want to just be told plainly, I'm offering this, and this. Go buy my products. There's got to be something engaging and a storyline there to get people to watch the video. So yeah, I totally get it. Well, Sean, as we get ready to wrap things up, you've already mentioned that the YouTube algorithm is constantly changing. It's really kind of hard to kind of keep track of what it is they're doing on the back end. Of course, there's some key fundamentals, but they're always doing some changes, little small tweaks as far as, how they're ranking things. What with technology advancing now at a pace like we've probably never seen before with AI and everything, what would you say are some emerging trends in YouTube marketing that you've seen that you think we should be aware of, and how should people prepare to adapt for these changes?
Answer that question in a second. I will say this: everything I mentioned in this video will most likely remain over the next 5, probably even 10 years. It's the fundamentals. Okay. Keep doing them, rinse and repeat. They're not going to change. And people are going to get hung up on things like, again, length of video or how big their description is. More words in description get you further. It's like, none of that works. Right. The theme that I really saw, which makes a lot of sense, relates to people's behavior, and we're seeing bigger results, is shorts. We went at it in the beginning more focused on long videos, but it's really where are people spending most of their time. I'm holding my iPhone here. It's on shorts, getting those vertical videos. And we try to pump out 1 long video per week and 2 shorts per week. Sometimes it's flip-flop, but we're trying to lean into shorts. So if you're going to do this, think about the 1-minute vertical videos. And real quick, I'll get into technicals here just for your audience. You can shoot them normally, like with any camera. You can even shoot with your iPhone, like widescreen like this. And then your editor, they can edit it so it's just like you in that center frame, and then export the video so it's the correct dimensions. You can find somebody on Upwork that knows how to do that. So don't worry about flipping your camera up or down. I like to shoot widescreen and go from there. So lean into shorts if you can, and start with those commenting videos. Be yourself, start with commenting videos, and you could see a nice injection of traffic right away.
Okay, great. Good stuff. Yeah, the shorts is something that, we've definitely seen exploded across all platforms. I think a lot of it really just all came from, really exploded because of the growth of Instagram Reels. And then of course TikTok. YouTube has the shorts, and then Facebook, and all of these platforms, they're all of them are seeing the power of it, the short form content, which are even though it's just like a brief teaser, a minute teaser with whatever it is that you're offering, it's a way to get that quick engagement. And then of course people see your brand. You have maybe some hashtags in there, of course, information about getting to your site, all that is there, and they can kind of go from there and take it to the next level.
Right on.
Well, Sean, this has been an awesome conversation. And I'm glad that you prefaced this last part with the fact that, everything that you've talked about are things that are just the fundamentals that aren't going to be going away, anytime soon. In the next 5-10 years, all of these things are going to, remain the same as far as we can see, which is good to know, because a lot of marketing strategies definitely come and go, as we do know with these trends. But yeah, these are all core fundamentals that I think if people will follow them, they will have a fair amount of success. But now, lastly, before we do let you go, I always like to close things out so our guests can get to know you a little bit better. If you don't mind sharing a closing fun fact about yourself that you think we'd be interested to know.
Total movie nerd, to the point where you could list a movie, and in most cases I could probably name the year it was made or get within a year or two, especially if it's post 1980. I'm pretty good. If you get before, one of my friends makes fun of me. He's like, pre-80, you're not very good at that game.
Gotcha. You can guess you can name the year that it came out.
Correct. Yeah. You want to test that theory?
Yeah, let me go ahead and test you. Let me give you a couple. Let's see.
Okay.
The first Back to the Future.
85.
Wow. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to say this could be a tough one because it could be kind of borderline before after 80s, but I'm going to throw a ringer at you. The first Alien movie.
79.
Yep. There you go. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, those are some good movies. I've seen probably Alien or Aliens a numbers of times. Back to the Future countless times.
Yeah.
And good stuff. I'm a bit of a movie, or I guess you could say sci-fi buff is my genre of choice.
The big one here, and I know we could talk all day on this, but it's Dune Part 2 coming out March 1st. Dune Part 1 came out in 2021. I cannot wait.
Gotcha. Yeah, that should be interesting. I did see Dune, and excited about the second one. I think they're gonna go a little bit deeper into the whole storyline. So I'm interested to see where that's gonna go. So
cool.
Good stuff, man. Well, thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that. Lastly, before we do let you go, if our listeners and viewers want to reach out to you and pick your brain anymore, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Yeah, the first place would be Tykr, TYKR.com. And then I do have a podcast as well. It's called Payback Time. And Arlen has been on the show twice now, in fact.
Yep. Awesome. Well, we'll definitely have the link to your site and in reference to your podcast in the show notes. So definitely encourage people to check you out. Check out Tykr as well as the Payback Podcast. And again, thank you, Sean, for joining us again on the E-commerce Marketing Podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you for listening to the E-commerce Marketing Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share it with everyone you know. Are you looking to take your digital marketing to the next level but are tired of weeding through countless YouTube videos with unproven and untrusted marketing strategies? Well, we have the answer for you. The More Sales Every Month online digital marketing course. In this information-packed course, you will learn effective keyword research, link building, content marketing, and much more to attract and convert your site visitors into paying customers. Just go to moresaleseverymonth.com and sign up today for a low one-time fee. In addition to this power-packed course, if you would like to get access to a growing repository of digital marketing articles, PDFs, and ebooks, check out getosi.com/resources and opt in to get full access to our library of priceless marketing information to help you take your digital marketing to the next level.